Nia and the prince exchanged looks. While Nia could not read the prince's face, Nia was certain that he was thinking the same thing as her. After you. Yumu, did you say 10th tier? Are 5th tier spells not the highest tier of magic? It was as the prince said. Nia had heard that this was the limit of magic. The reason why she felt that the Sorcerer King could use 6th tier spells also stemmed from that. In response to the prince's question, Shizu shook her head as if to say, "Ha, what will I do with you? The 10th tier is the highest tier of magic. The spell that Jeldabaoth used to call down meteors from the sky also belongs to that tier. How can we beat A? No way. Don't tell me, His Majesty, who fought with Jeldabaoth." As the shocking truth hit Nia, the prince was also shuddering in shock. The 10th tier? No. It can't be, right? The 10th tier. Could it be true? And to think, I was so proud of myself in my 4th tier. No, the 4th tier was already very powerful. He would have been justified in being arrogant. There were precious few magic casters who could reach that level. Shizu, I'd like to check something, but can His Majesty use spells of the 10th tier, too? But of course. Why are you still saying this? Shizu's tone seemed to imply. She sounded like she was rolling her eyes. It might have been the first time that Nia had so clearly discerned Shizu's feelings. The prince, who was a fellow magic caster, was twitching from the tremendous shock. Ha. So the king of the land to which we are fleeing, the Sorcerer King, is such a powerful undead being. Does mastery of the 10th tier mean he is over twice as powerful as me? Ha! Shizu sighed deeply. His Majesty. Call him His Majesty. Ah, yes. His Majesty is truly powerful. When one thought calmly about it, Shizu had actually been quite brusque with the prince of an entire tribe, but since Shizu was speaking about matters of fact, Nia tacitly acknowledged her actions as she expressed her agreement. Indeed, Prince Sama. His Majesty is incredibly powerful. Ah, yes. Prince. If you could find someone that powerful, he would be in your debt. You're absolutely right. Then we shall give your earlier proposal to search for His Majesty in the Hells our fullest support. Nia clenched her fists in excitement. Thank you very much, Prince Sama. Now then, Shizu, could you continue what you were saying just now? About how powerful Lane Sama is. We were talking about that henchman of Jeldabaoth. Ah, I'd like to hear about the Sorcerer King as well. Could you tell me more after we return safely? Multi-head demons with multiple equipped heads can use them all at once, and cast multiple spells at a time, but there are several conditions. First, each head can only use 2 spells at once. In addition, there is a limit on how many tiers of spells can be cast at once. For instance, silk hats can cast a maximum of 15 tiers of spells at once. 15 tiers. Do spells go up to a maximum of 15 tiers? They don't go that high. The tiers of the spells added together can be up to 15. The prince writhed in relief at Shizu's answer. The fact that Nia could surmise a bit of how the prince felt through his actions began to frighten her. Moving on. The important thing is how many heads that demon can equip at once. 2. One is a demi-human head, and the other is the head of a human like yourselves. Nia had a bad feeling about this. Jeldabaoth had been holding a human body back then. Had its upper half not been missing? What was that human head like, Prince Sama? Unfortunately, I cannot tell apart individuals of species other than my own. Ah, I do know about the other head. It belonged to the queen of the demi-human species called the Pandex. Her name was the Grandmother. Nia wanted to ask more about the Pandex and the Grandmother, but Nia had more pressing things she needed to learn. I'd like to ask about the human. What color was her hair? By hair do you mean the fur on the head? It was light black. Black. So it doesn't belong to someone from the Holy Kingdom. Nia's heart was somewhat at ease. For a moment, she had wondered if the head belonged to the Holy Queen. Now that her guess had been proven wrong, she felt a sense of profound relief. At the same time, Nia noted that this might be a hint to another riddle. She had heard that humans from the southern regions generally had black hair. So that's it, Nia thought. Had Jeldabaoth come from there, she wondered. To the Holy Kingdom, the southern regions were not a land that was ruled by humans. Less than half the population was human, and many of those had the blood of other species, and that number was steadily increasing. According to what Nia knew, only the Holy Kingdom, the Empire, and the Kingdom were ruled by human royalty. The city-state alliance and the theocracy did not have royal families. So that was why no news about Jeldabaoth had reached these human-dominated countries. Incidentally, multi-head demons cannot use the abilities of heads which do not belong to magic casters. They do not gain the abilities of warriors by equipping a warrior's head. That is because there are other demons with those abilities. In that case, the demi-human's head. Prince Sama. Can you tell us a bit about that grandmother? Alright. That is why I want to fight with you. The Pandex are a species that feed on moss, and they look like us. In other words, they look like maggots. Nia felt a twinge of revulsion at the thought of a demon that adorned itself with the head of maggots. Was the grandmother also a spiritual magic caster? Indeed. I used the yin principle of the 5 elements, but the grandmother was the opposite. She used the yang principle of the 5 elements. Yin and yang are 2 extremes, and spells of one can resist or hamper spells of the other. I see. Shizu nodded. Letting him come with us would improve our chances. I am glad that you understand. Personally, I am very unhappy that a demon is using the head of the grandmother. Indeed. She was my first love, after all. My prince. What are you saying? How could you fall for a female of another species? Ah, that was a childish crush. It's different now. Well, it sounded like a saccharine sweet topic. All she felt about Amaga's first love was utter disgust. In that case, assuming our enemy is a circlet who can equip 2 heads at once, how many total spell tiers can it cast at one time? A maximum of 6 tiers. Incidentally, crowns can cast a maximum of 10 tiers. Then if I use 4th tier spells, it will only be able to cast spells of the 2nd tier. Of course, that is simply nullifying that bastard, so you still have to be careful. Next is that human head. We know too little about it. Nia. I'm sorry. I regret to say I do not know the black-haired person. Still, I'm quite surprised. I thought that you would just jump right into the fight, sincere Shizu. Ain Sama said collecting information is very important. Ah, as expected of His Majesty. What an excellent notion. As Nia said this, Shizu reached a hand out to her, and Nia immediately grabbed it and shook. Good girl. If you were cuter, I'd put a sticker on you. Maybe a furry sticker. A sticker. Ah, you put one on me already, so I don't need another. Please paste it on someone else you like. You're the first person to dislike my stickers. Eh? Nia exclaimed in surprise as Shizu said that she was her first. After that, she immediately realized that perhaps she is a demon, had not had many dealings with humans. No, it was possible that others might have despised her in their hearts, but had not dared to voice it, due to their fear of her as a demon. While she wanted to poke fun at her for it, Nia could not do anything like spoil the fun of someone who was loyal to the same supreme being as her. Thus, Nia simply let it pass with a bitter smile. Indeed, humans do not have fur, much like we Zerns. That is why they live in houses like these. Why not dig holes like we do? Prince, we're straying off topic. We don't have much time. We need to deal with this before the humans attack this city. In conclusion, the prince will be going too. Nobody spoke up against it. Or rather, Nia had been the only one to voice her opposition to it. Regarding our tactics, we will handle the front line, but what should we do if there are guards who block us? Allowing a spellcasting opponent to move freely is very dangerous. I'll engage it in close quarters combat. Nobody asked if she could do it. She was half of the team which could defeat the Guardian Valen, although that was all Shizu's work, or so everyone said. Nobody doubted Shizu's abilities. Alright. Then let's move. Before approaching the henchmen, place us in the barrels and move us in. If you tell them you're bringing food to the henchman demon on his orders, you'll be able to get close to him. By us the prince was referring to himself, Nia, and Shizu. As long as the 3 of them remained undetected, they could continue maintaining their deception. The Zern betrayal had not been detected. This was a tactic that could only be put into effect now. Once again, Shizu and Nia hid inside the barrels they had used to enter the city. Shizu-san. We're really lucky. Shizu poked her head out of the barrel. Why is that? Look. Everything's going well for us. Thanks to the Zern's betrayal, we managed to save the prince, and even Jaldabaeus' henchman is here. If we defeat him, we'll have achieved a great accomplishment. That way, nobody will be able to speak ill of us anymore. We'll also be able to easily assemble a rescue party to find His Majesty. It was all coincidence. Nia was defeated by Shizu's somewhat harsh tone. Is that wrong? We're lucky because it was a coincidence. Well, we were this successful because His Majesty made you his property, so I guess in that sense, it's not really a coincidence. Ain Sama's property. Maybe property wasn't the right word, huh? I don't mind. Nia. I like you very much. You're not cute, but I don't mind giving you another sticker. It hurt a little to be called not cute over and over again, and as she thought this, Nia said, never mind, and ducked back into her barrel.